Hey guys, it's Matt Hogan, Element Real Estate, dropping in to give you an update on Coastside housing market for November. Are prices going up? Are they going down? Are homes selling faster or slower? How are we doing relative to other towns or areas in San Mateo County? Well, sit tight. We're going to answer all these questions and more in this month's market update. All right, so I'm going to go pretty fast here. For those of you who want a bit more detailed analysis and want to know a little bit more about how we're doing relative to other areas, that'll come later on in this little clip here. So first of all, home prices, one of the best indicator on whether the market is growing or shrinking or healthy or unhealthy. They did jump in November significantly on the coast. 1.1 to 1.25 million was the average or the median home price of sold homes. But if you look at a longer curve, you can see, you'll see in a little bit that the home prices are down in general. Not a lot, but nonetheless, they're down over the last 18 months, despite the fact that they were up in November. Sales price to list price, what is that? So that's the ratio of what people are getting for their home relative to what they listed their home for. Ideally, sellers want that to be 100% or more. We were hovering around 97% of list price, and last month we actually had a decent drop to 93.5%. So people are getting less for their homes, at least in November, relative to what they were listing them for than they were in the previous few months. Months of inventory. This is a metric that quantifies how fast the market is selling for our area. If there's 50 homes on the market and 25 homes sold in that month, we would call that 2 months of inventory average turnover rate, which means it would take 2 months at selling 25 homes a month to turn over the entire market of 50 homes. So for us, you can see that, it's down, which is good. 3.2 months of inventory versus this time last year, we had 4.6. Having said that, it's relatively higher to other areas in the county, and we'll take a look at that a little bit later. Price reductions are slightly more this last month than they were a year ago. Not atypical for price reductions to go up as we bump into the holidays, as people want to move their homes to avoid having them being listed on the holidays, so they drop prices. But nonetheless, we had a slight bump in price reductions relative to this time last year on the coast side. And finally, mortgage rates pretty flat, between 3.6 and 3.8% over the past few months. Last month we had a small drop in November, but if you look at a longer time frame, at least to this time last year, you'll see that mortgage rates are way, way, way down. They were hovering around 5% about a year ago. Right now, again, pretty low at 3.6%, so money's still cheap. If I were to assign a grade to the health of the coastside housing market, I'd say probably B minus. Could be a little bit better, could be a lot worse. So that's it. That's the bottom line. Let's dive into the details for those of you who want it. All right. So I was talking about medium home prices on the coast. Here's where we see the jump last month from 1.1 to 1.25. You kind of don't want to look at a specific month when you're looking at this graph because we don't have enough inventory for the data to be really statistically significant. So you need to look at a longer time frame. And if you do look at a longer time frame going back to August, you can see that, there is a slight drop in home prices, median home prices, over the course of the last 18 months, which you can see by this trend line here. It's not fallen off a cliff, but it is nonetheless not growing, which shows that we've been in a sort of a leveling off period already for some time, at least in my opinion. You can see the medium home prices in Pacifica have been pretty flat. They had a little bit drop last month, but overall, if you look at the trend line, it's flat. Interesting to note, though, that their average home prices, or the gap between our average home prices and Pacifica's average home prices, have been getting smaller. You can see big gap here and sort of August 2018 to just a few months ago, and then sort of that gap is getting smaller. And then obviously, if you look at San Mateo County as a whole, which includes really, really high-priced communities like Atherton and Hillsborough and Woodside, you'll see that boosts the average home price way up, or the medium home price, which is hovering around 1.6 million now. And also you can see that they're not seeing, at least not yet anyways, a drop in their median home prices. In fact, if you look, there's a slight increase to this trend line. So that's home prices. Sales price to list price ratio, we already spoke about Half Moon Bay and that it's dropped a little bit. People are getting about, at least in November, 93% of their list price. That's what they're getting for their home when they sell it. You also see a slight drop in San Mateo County as a whole. Pacifica, slight increase coming after a significant drop over a few months. The difference between San Mateo County, Pacifica, and the Coastside is that their homes are still selling for substantially over 100%. So still selling for more than list price. Pacifica still well over 105%. So interesting. Months of inventory. We spoke about the Coastside being at 3.6 months of inventory relative to where they were a year ago, which was somewhere around 4.5, 4.6. You look at San Mateo County as a whole, you look at Pacifica, those markets are turning over much faster. One-ish or less than 1 month of inventory, which means if there's 50 homes for sale on the market in Pacifica, or let's say 300 homes for sale on the market in San Mateo County in a given month, they're doing 300 sales. So that entire inventory is turning over in 1 month. Still representative of a pretty hot buyer's market out there. I mean, pretty hot seller's market out there. Price reduction factor. This is a numerical value that shows how much we are reducing prices. Our sellers are reducing prices. If it goes down, it means that there's more price reductions, and you can see that indeed the graph is going down. So people have been reducing the prices on their home once those homes have been listed more often than they were, say, a few months ago. You can also see the trend is the same in San Mateo County and Pacifica as a whole. More price reductions in November. But again, keep in mind that that's very typical as you go into the holidays. As people's homes are sitting on the market for a couple months, they don't want it to be listed through the holidays for obvious reasons. So hence more price reductions to try to move those properties. And finally, interest rates, mortgage rates. This is, I spoke about this verbally. You can see it's been pretty flat here for the past couple months, but again, money's really, really cheap relative to where we were only a year ago. So that's the market update for November. We'll be doing this every month. In fact, next month we'll do an annual update, where will be hopefully more exciting because we'll have a lot more data. So that's it. We'll see you next month. Happy holidays, and stay dry out there. Thanks.